The Sega CD returns for A Tale of Long Ago. It's time for the Sega CD version of Prince of Persia. It's a classic game, one you're probably familiar with, though maybe not this version of the game. One thing to mention about this version right off the bat is that it has a custom intro. So let's watch that, and I hope you enjoy it.
Foolish Sultan, you think you can return to Persia, but you're wrong. You no longer rule here. Soon the princess and all of Persia will be mine. I will be Sultan. I am invincible. Oh, crystal of pure holiness, let me see the story of my triumphant future. Show me Persia under my reign, and show me the princess when she is my wife, and all Persia is ours.
I am terrified of Jaffa. While Father has been away, Jaffa has banished the servants.
Don't worry. When the Sultan returns, everything will be all right.
Thank you. You're so kind. I've been very worried since Father left for his mission far away. I'm so glad that you are here. I would like you to meet Father when he returns.
Yes, but I am just a wandering traveler. Your father may be angered if he sees us together and banish me along with Jaffa. Princess, please return to your quarters at once.
What do you want? Stop it! Leave me alone!
Princess!
Leave us alone!
It is Master Jaffa's orders.
What?
We must arrest him.
Him? He didn't do anything wrong.
Master Jaffa will explain later. Please return to your private quarters.
He didn't do anything wrong. Stop it! Let him go!
Whoa!
Princess!
Young knight, methinks you are getting a little too friendly with the princess. And to reach my goals, I must get you out of the way.
Look at a little eyebrow raise right there.
Sweet princess, how are you feeling? How do you feel about my proposition? You will marry me, yes?
Never. Who would want to marry you?
I shall ascend to the throne of this kingdom. Your destiny is by my side.
Father will never approve of that.
Your father has no place here anymore. I shall rule. Come to me.
Don't touch me!
Ha! Ha 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 ha! Yeah! Very well then, Princess. I shall give you some time to make up your mind. Either you marry me, or when the last grain of sand slips through this hourglass, your time is up.
Jaffa, I will never forgive you for this. Princess, wait for me. I will save you and crush Jaffa's ambitions forever.
It's a very good intro, and also completely unnecessary. Alright, so this is I'm not playing here. This is just a gameplay demo, where you can see what the redrawn graphics look like. It seems like every version, every port of Prince of Persia had redone sprite work. Now, as far as any comparison point I would make, the version that I know more than anything else is the DOS one. That, of course, is not the original version. The original was on the Apple II, but so the DOS one also had reworked graphics, but that's generally what I think about when I think of Prince of Persia. This game also having a lot more music, as the original game did not have background music for the most part. The sun's going down. Or is it coming up? It's one of those. I like this title screen. It's relaxing. Alright, well. Time to start our game. Alright, here we go. Level 1. We have a time limit of 1 hour, because that's how long the princess has to answer Jaffa's ultimatum. The R is silent in Jaffa, I suppose. Alright, so we can run. We can tiptoe. We can climb down. Now, one thing about this game, I was comparing it to the DOS one when I was trying this out to see, how it worked. This one feels a little slower, a little sluggish compared to the DOS one, but then I realized you can change the game speed. So it's on 3 by default. You change it to 2, and I think it feels much snappier and more responsive on this. I guess if you wanted to speed run the game, well, not that. Okay, might as well just enter a name. I guess if you wanted to speed run the game, you'd have to learn how to play it on speed 1. Which is it's a little too fast. We could also try speed 4. Which is, that's right out. And speed 5. If you really want to be cautious, I guess. But we're putting it on 2, and also speed fight. Default is 4. I'm going to move that up to 3. Okay. Alright, so we gotta find how to get out. Well, it's not this way because there's a guy with a sword, and we have no sword. Gotta find another way. Jump. Mind the spikes. So this is a very methodical game. You really need to just take careful consideration of every movement you make. It's also a game where like, you have to know what you're gonna press before you have to press it. Like, when you jump, you don't jump instantly. It takes a second. It's a game about dying. You know, trial and error. And figuring out what you did wrong and what you have to do to fix that. Less about reflexes, I think. Though there are sword fights, which we'll do once we get a sword, which is right down here. We gotta have a sword if we're gonna rescue the princess from Jaffa. Right, so the ultimate goal of the prince is to work his way out of the dungeon and find where the princess is and confront Jaffa along the way. And try not to get impaled on spikes, which will happen many times. Alright, so the guard's here. Now that I have a sword, we can fight. We can swing, we can block. Here's the exit door, but we have to figure out how to open it. We can just go over here and do this. There we go. And it's open. The princess is so concerned as the hourglass winds down. What can she do? Well, the answer is she's not going to do anything. She's going to fret in her bedroom. We killed him. We can also take a look at what might be down here. Just, you know, be careful. Yeah, it's not good down there. There's a potion, which is good because we did take some damage. And that restores 1 health. There's some holes in the floor, but if we tiptoe, it's no problem. A lot of the game is kind of about not rushing. Except when you have to. Like here. He did get me once. There's a potion down there. I like to tiptoe when I go into the next room, just in case. I'm in a precarious position here. There are spikes behind me. So I don't want to get knocked back. There we go. Alright, that was a potion. This potion here is a different color, though. I believe that one is poison. So there's 2 different potions. One of them helps, one of them hurts. I don't want to do a running jump, because I'll be too close to him if I do that. Let's try to do a smaller jump, so we have more space. Of course, I'm close to that pit, so I don't want to get backed up. There we go. We can go left or up. We'll go up. Mind the spikes. We got a tall potion. And 54 minutes left. And that one adds an additional thing to our health. We can have a look at what's over to the right. And, well, nothing. There's a potion there if we needed one. We wanted to work our way back around, but we don't need to do that. So there is a certain, friction going on here where you have to take your time. But then every so often it brings up the time limit on screen saying, hey, you have this amount of time left. Which might make you want to not take your time. Jump. Jump. There we go. Gotta turn around. Here's the exit. But it is closed. We have to find the thing that opens it. And there is a switch over there. Running jump. Alright, that's opening it, but I can't really make a running... I don't have enough space for a running jump on this side, I don't think. But I think we can do this. Yeah, there we go. And we're out. Level 3. You might wonder, why does the Sultan need such a massive dungeon underneath his castle? You might wonder that. You'd think it would just be like one basement, maybe 2. No. It feels like that... It feels like that the dungeons are taller than the castle itself. Well, I guess he needs them. So we could go up and see what's up there, but also there's down here. There's a potion. I don't actually need it. And someone fell over there. So let's try to not share his fate. So we could go to the left. However, those walls, when we were on the bottom and we were walking to the right, we did see there were like walls above us, implying that there is something over to the right, even though we can't see it from here. But, we can make a leap of faith. And that's a switch that opens something. There we go. Something's closing. Well, don't know if I can make that jump if that fell. I took too long. You can see that switch open that gate, but then it starts going down. but I might not be able to make the jump. We'll try it again and see. Well, I guess we won't know, because I messed that one up. And so the princess's hour is going to run out. Does that mean which decision will she make? Will she marry Jaffa or be put to death? I don't think we ever actually find out the answer to that. What her response would be if the time limit ran out. Also, does Jaffa have the support of the entire Persian army? Like, eventually the Sultan's gonna come back. What happens then? Nope. Messed that one up. I think I jumped too late. I mentioned that you can't jump when you have to jump. You have to jump like a second before you have to. The DOS version was like that too. It's less about reaction time and just knowing when and where that's going to be, that jump. Nope, that was wrong. So there's a lot of deaths in this game. Oops. It's a game known for dying, really. Again, I was too late with it. I need to, like, press it one space earlier. I'm pretty sure the first time I ever saw Prince of Persia, I seem to remember my family was in a Radio Shack, and I forget why we were there. I was quite young. And they had some computers, you know, being demonstrated in the corner. And one of them was playing Prince of Persia. So I played it for a bit and, you know, died a whole bunch. And I don't think I knew what the name of the game was. Just this mysterious game. Nope, that's not right at all. It was this mysterious game where this guy kept falling off of ledges and dying. But I found it oddly compelling. Then I think a few years later, I saw it at a friend's house. Their family had a computer that could run Prince of Persia. A mighty 486. No. Well, you can hear it coming down already. No, don't do that. No, that's the wrong jump. It's the wrong jump. Well, I suppose I should get that potion. So, as far as how do the controls of this feel, I feel like it feels just about the same as the DOS one. I'm not really noticing no. That's okay. I don't know why that happened. But in general, I feel like it doesn't feel that much different from the DOS game. I feel like I should be able to do this better. Turn around, take a step forward, jump forward, start running, jump, run, jump, run, jump, grab, and then pull up, and there we go. There it is. All right, some bones. Opens that. And we have this happy, these jaws, happy jaws. Why does the Sultan need this? And there's the exit. And that opens the exit. Fortunately, I don't think those are ever timed. I don't remember that being the case. I think that once it's open, it's permanent. I don't remember if that changes in future levels. All right, get through. It's closing. All right. Ah! Spooky skeletons fight. Down he goes. But the door, the exit door is also down, right? Oh, he's ready for round 2. He doesn't have a health meter, as I'm sure you noticed, because he is a skeleton. Down he goes. And there's the exit. All right, we're out of here. Can't believe Jaffa is dabbling with necromancy, bringing the dead back for his own twisted ends. She just looks bored. The sands continue running down. We enter level 4. 45 minutes left. And new music, which is good, because I wasn't really a fan of that track that had been playing up to now. Is this a closed door? Yeah, seems so. There, I don't suppose that's a pit down there? I mean, will that fall down? Yeah? What? Yep, I survived it, actually. I knew it was coming, still fell into it. Alright, do I want to go fight him? Well, might have to. And pull myself up here. I don't know if there's a timer on that. There is. How would I make that? I think I'm gonna have to go for... He's standing quite close, is the thing. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. Let's see if we can do that better. I mean, if I was able to get through that one door, instead of setting off the trap, maybe that would have gone better. We can see what's down here. Alright. What is down here? Oh, we can approach you from this side. Okay. Alright, spiked by his own spikes. Alright, so that one goes down. That opens that. Alright, that opens it from that side. Don't need a potion. Hello. Once again, I'm in a precarious situation. Don't want to get moved backwards. There we go. Oh, hello. Opens that. We started on the other side of that, though. So, we don't need to go there right now. Oh, hello. Well, we found the exit, but... Oh, you got me. So we found the exit, but it's closed. You have to find the switch for it. So going that way is not going to help right now. But assume that we're going to have to do this. Whoop, okay. We were on the lower level of this one earlier. Alright, so we can crash those. Oh, did that land on a switch? Uh-huh. We found a long potion. Okay. So how do we get to the switch that will open the exit? Oh. Like how it takes him a second to stand up after doing that. He's like, ooh, that one got me. My knees. Alright. A little concerned about this. Yeah, that's why I'm concerned about that. So we do have to get to the other side of that guy. Alright, so we'll start off by getting the potion, and then we'll head to the right and get around to the other side of that guy. Don't know if it's really necessary to kill him. Once we're on the other side. Yeah, got me. Things are not looking good for the princess. What did this one do again? Not sure. Nope. Oh, now the trap got me this time. It's not exactly what I meant to do. And there we go. Alright, so here is where the exit door is. We have not found the switch that opens it. But there is like a little area below us. I don't remember. Oh, well, that opens that. There's a switch there. Guarded by a chomper. We could see what's down there. Oh, let's see what's to the left. Potion. Doesn't look like there's anything behind those chompers, though. that sounds like an exit opening. That's what that sounds like. Mm-hmm. That's probably nothing. Alright, we made it out. Level 5. Things are getting fancier as we get higher up. Okay, we can go left or right. Really, only right. Let's see what's down there. Nothing good. Go. Mm-hmm. Oh, it is a big potion. Who doesn't want a big potion? Hey! Hey! He took my potion! That was my big potion! Well, got emotional over me being robbed of my big potion. Down he goes. Not sure if getting robbed of the big potion is... Yeah, I guess it's looking like that's the pathway you do have to take. That's not an optional thing, probably. Well, I mean, if I go this way, I'm going to the left without actually doing the potion thing. Does that change anything? Doesn't look like there's... I don't see like a press plate over there. So maybe one of the press plates I press over this way opens that, possibly. Try not to go too fast. No, that is still closed. We could try jumping over there, see if anything happens. Yeah, that just that stays closed. Okay, but we could drop down from here. Yeah, that works. I would like to get that potion. Oh, hold on. go. Used too much for me. Well, maybe we can do a big jump. There we go. Is he coming from behind, I wonder? I don't know if the game ever does that. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. Actually, can you jump up from here? Yeah. And we get trapped. Unless we can bump our head. Up there. Yeah. But that does do damage. Oh, okay, I dodged the damage. So what does that do? It opens that and lets us... Was there a reason to do that? I don't see if that... It doesn't seem like that really did anything for us. Well, I only have one thing of health, and I'm doing real bad against this guy in particular. Yeah. Well, we've almost reached an hour with Prince of Persia, and it seems like I'm not getting past this particular guy, at least not at the moment. So, what do we think about Prince of Persia on the Sega CD? Well, I mean, it seems like it plays okay. It seems like it plays like Prince of Persia. Clearly, it looks different. The graphics were redrawn. The audio's different, but that's the case like in every version. But as I said before, sort of the comparison point I would make is with the DOS version, and how does that compare to that? And if we wanted to know, refresh our memory of that, we could take a look at that real quick, as I do have that on here. Just we'll do one level as just as a refresher. Do some DOS Prince of Persia. The Sultan's absence, the Grand Vizier Jafar... Jaffa rules with the Iron Fist of Tyranny. Only one obstacle remains between Jaffa and the throne. The Sultan's beautiful young daughter, Hubba Hubba. Hugs? No. Ah. I do like how the story is gotten across just with that little performance right there. Marry Jaffa or die within the hour. The princess's hopes rest on the brave youth she loves. Little does she know, he's already a prisoner in Jaffa's dungeons. Prince of Persia by Jordan Mechner. All right, level 1. So, character sprites, a bit bigger in the DOS version. The graphics, I prefer the look of these graphics, I think. They look cleaner, simpler. It has a, more striking look to it, I think. No music, of course. The game has a very lonely sound to it. We get some jingles when you get items and such. That FM synth sound. All right, time for some sword fighting. Open a door. She's very worried. Alright, so that's just a little bit of the DOS version. So, do I think the Sega CD version is better than the DOS version? You know, that animated intro does go a long way. I'm not sure if I would say it plays better. There's just something a little bit more polished feeling about the DOS one, I think. I don't know. Sega CD feels like it's not quite what it should be. Like, if I was... Cutscenes aside, if I was playing a version of Prince of Persia, I probably would play this one. As opposed to the Sega CD one. Now... Sega CD one does have redrawn graphics. I don't know about you. I thought the redrawn graphics were kind of ugly. Now, every version of Prince of Persia has different looking graphics. And it's kind of funny that there is a Genesis version of the game, and that was made by a different developer than the Sega CD version. Sega CD version was made by Broderbund. I can't remember now. It may have been Tengen that made the Genesis version. They look completely different. You would think that the Sega CD one would be the Genesis one with like CD music or something. No, they are completely different games. So I do like the look of the DOS version more. Now, Sega CD one has CD music. Is it good? You know, that track that was playing during the first 3 levels, I was not enjoying very much. The music that started in level 4 was better. That was better, but I'm not too sure if that CD soundtrack was doing us any favors. It's not bad or anything, just, you know, not as good as it could be. And the reason I'm thinking about that is, you know, when you have a port of a game like that to the Sega CD, and you're looking at the enhancements, and you're asking, are these enhancements good or better than what was done before? And the answer isn't a resounding yes. Now I'm thinking about, yeah, it's not really a resounding yes. Though I do like the animated intro. It's very good. One other thing that this Sega CD of Prince of Persia has is the manual. We could take a look at that more, just because I want to look at the cover of it, because there is Jafar in the clouds and looking down on the prince, and the prince is flexing in defiance, showing off what he's got. Jafar might have magic, but does he have these guns? No, he doesn't. And like Jafar's like, oh yeah, I can't compete. Look at that. I can't compete with that. I can't blame the princess for going with that. The prince challenging Jafar to a pose down. Jafar is not thrilled at this. So yeah, this is the Sega CD cover. I think it is a very good cover. What does it have to say? Epilepsy warning? How to start up your Genesis and Sega CD? The Sultan's betrayal? Persia, the Empire of Legends. The Sultan of Astrabad has been picked by Osman I, founder of the Ottoman Empire, to lead an army against the barbarian invaders to the north. In his absence, the Sultan has given rulership of Astrabad to Jaffa, the Grand Vizier, and entrusted him with the protection of his only daughter, the princess. A young prince, an adventurer from a neighboring city, has met the Sultan's daughter, and promptly fallen in love with her. Meanwhile, Jaffa has received news that the Persian army has been defeated. Believing the Sultan to be dead, Jaffa decides to become the new ruler of Astrabad by marrying the princess. Jaffa has given the princess 1 hour to prepare for her wedding and has thrown the prince in the palace dungeon where he is sure the young man will meet his doom. But the vizier does not know how resourceful the prince is. The prince is determined to save the princess from the fate Jaffa has in store for her by escaping the dungeon. As the Prince of Persia, you must make your way through the many dangers of the dungeons below the palace to save the princess from the evil vizier. Traps of all kinds, spikes, bottomless pits, palace guards. I mean, maybe not traps of all kinds. That's kind of it. Remember, you have only 1 hour to make it out. They're referring to him as the Prince of Persia, but of course he is not. He is just a wanderer. I mean, he may marry into the position after the events of the game. How you get started, name entry, how you control. These are controls. Movement and fighting, special running and jumping like the long jump or ledge hanging, or tiptoeing, or as they called in the caption, tricky footing. So they do give you tips about how to control the prince. What to do with different obstacles. Sword fighting. Talking about attacking and parrying. I like how they say, pressing the D button down puts your scimitar away, but don't do that unless you have a really good reason. You know, maybe there's one particular fight in the game where you might have a really good reason. Into the dungeon. You've been thrown into the dungeon of the Palace Astrabad. As you already know, you have 1 hour to find your way through this maze and save the princess from the evil designs of Jaffa, the Grand Vizier. What you don't know is that Jaffa is not only an evil man, but a sorcerer as well. Is that why he's blue? I was wondering why he has blue skin in this. You must be careful of the many booby traps in the dungeon, and also beware of the evil magic and its effect on the dungeon. You will see supernatural creatures as well as more down-to-earth, though just as deadly ones. You can get a scimitar. You can get potions. It does mention that one of the potions is poison. Then there's the long neck potion, doors and gates, floors and ceilings, obstacles. The options window. And you can actually save your game in this. If you like how you're doing, you know. Maybe you're getting through the game faster. You want to save your game. The fate of the prince. If the prince is able to make his way through the floors and defeat his opponents, he will finally achieve his ultimate goal, but in the dark passageways of the palace, things aren't always so rosy. If he happens to fall victim to one of the hundreds of dangers awaiting him, wait a few moments and a message screen will appear telling you to push any button but button B to continue the game. What happens if you press button B? After you press a button, the prince will start his adventures again at the entrance of the same level he died on. Keep in mind, however, that the sands of the hourglass are still falling. In other words, you restart the game with only the amount of time that's left on the clock. You can't stop the sands of time. A secret message for the prince from the princess. Wow. At the beginning, just after the prince had been thrown into the palace dungeon, he sat down, wondering what to do next. He knew he had to find his way out of the prison to save the princess from Jaffa's evil plans. He looked to his right, and noticed a loose floor plate nearby. A way out. He was walking over to try to pry the plate open. A white mouse carrying a piece of paper in its mouth came through a hole in the wall. The mouse dropped the paper at his feet and then scrambled away. Intrigued, the prince picked up the note and opened it. "Now is the time for courage, my prince. I've been through the dungeon only once, but I can tell you some of the things to be careful of. First, beware of the swordsmen. They will try to force you backwards with their sword blows onto spikes or through weak spots in the floors. Get as close to them as you can, and use their strategy against them as you fight. You must also remember that the floors and ceilings are not always sturdy. I've been talking to my father about that. We really have to get these repaired. If you jump up and down, you will see the loose plates shake. There are secret passageways through some of the plates, while others are bottomless pits. Be careful when exploring. Finally, I must tell you that Jaffa says he has a special opponent waiting for you, one he says you cannot fight against and win. If this is true, then all is lost. But I feel there is some trick in Jaffa's words. I have faith that you will overcome these obstacles. Oh, Jaffa is coming. Please hurry, my prince." I like that she took the time to write that down. Out of the dungeon. If you want to write down, your accomplishments. How should you handle a compact disc? Don't leave it near a radiator. Don't leave it in direct sunlight. What's the matter with you? Blank pages. Ooh, yes, we saw this contest earlier in another manual. All right, so that's the manual for Prince of Persia for the Sega CD. Just wanted to go through that. Okay, let's bring up our rankings. So, when we're judging Prince of Persia, we're talking about 1, Prince of Persia as a classic game, and 2, this particular port of Prince of Persia. Well, the last game that we played was Black Hole Assault. Is Prince of Persia for the Sega CD better than Black Hole Assault? Yeah, I'll say yes. I do enjoy the animated cutscenes in Black Hole Assault. Music's good. Dialogue's good, but even though, despite that, the gameplay itself is not going to match up to Prince of Persia. Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective Volume 1. Well, I enjoyed that. And they're very different games. It's hard to make a direct comparison. I do think Prince of Persia is something I would probably go to before I would be going to Sherlock Holmes if I just felt like, some Sega CD adventures. I feel like Prince of Persia for the Sega CD is a better Prince of Persia than Sherlock Holmes is as a detective game. Maybe we'll say it like that. What about Soul Feast? Soul Feast, our number 2. Soul Feast, great looking, colorful graphics, has anime intro cutscene, fantastic music. I really like the Soul Feast soundtrack. And certainly I do like it a lot more than the soundtrack that we have in this version of Prince of Persia. The graphics in Soul Feast I also think is better than this version of Prince of Persia. Which do I like better to play? Soul Feast is a pretty good shoot 'em up, but it's not the best. It's not a great one. It's okay. And Prince of Persia, of course, is a classic. And even though I might go to the DOS version of Prince of Persia before I would go to the Sega CD one, the Sega CD one I think is still worth playing. It's not a bad version of it or anything. Yeah, I think Prince of Persia would go above Soul Feast. I think it would. I do like Soul Feast. But I think maybe the final levels of Soul Feast might actually be more frustrating than Prince of Persia. 45 minutes left. But now we would come to the big question. Is Prince of Persia on the Sega CD a better game than 4 or 5 games in one, the Sega Classics Arcade Collection, Golden Axe, Streets of Rage, Columns, and Revenge of Shinobi, and sometimes Super Monaco GP? Well, if I'm asking that question, I guess really the question I'm asking is Prince of Persia a better game than Revenge of Shinobi? Like, first of all, do I think that? If we're looking at Prince of Persia, do I just think it's straight out a better game than Revenge of Shinobi? And I don't. I think Revenge of Shinobi is the better game. Like, not even considering the Sega CD and any changes made to the Sega CD port, I think Revenge of Shinobi is straight up a better game. And of course, with the Sega Classics Arcade Collection, you also get other games with it. So, I mean, I can't say that Prince of Persia is better than the Sega Classics Arcade Collection. I mean, and that's the thing. If something is going to beat Sega Classics, if something's going to do that, it has to be a better game than Revenge of Shinobi. And if we can say it is, then we could start looking at, is it also better than Revenge of Shinobi and Golden Axe and Streets of Rage and Columns and Super Monaco GP? Then we could start looking at that. But if it can't get past Revenge of Shinobi, then those other questions are not things that we're asking. So, number 2 on the list, Prince of Persia. It seems like a fine version of Prince of Persia, and it has a wonderful animated intro that's exclusive to that version. No other version of the game has that. So nothing can take that away from it. This was like all of the games so far we've looked at have been very early games for the Sega CD, and while I think certain games did not give the Sega CD a very good name, like Make My Video, having something like Prince of Persia, a classic, as an early game on the system, I think could only help. But it could not get past Sega Classics Arcade. What will? When will we get to the game that can dethrone the Sega Classics Arcade collection? We haven't found it yet, but we will see as we continue on with the Sega CD library.